is like actually looking at it. I'm not looking for it.
Yeah.
It's not
And
drawing
then
your
like
attention. Did you change the oil life and no info color too, or is that the same as?
that's the
Uh,
same everywhere.
okay, okay, yeah,
That's part of
good.
like the widget. I would say
Okay,
like I like this as opposed to like just removing it because I feel like people without seeing it are gonna think that like it's missing or something like that. And
yeah,
like
no, that's
at
right,
least having it there until we have something better to do is gonna just show that like,
right.
hey, this is something that like we just don't get from your vehicle. It's not
Hmm.
available.
Yeah, okay, I'm with it.
So yeah, let's do that.
All right,
Okay.
I would say then the other thing I would maybe try on this is taking the MI in miles and making it the same size and color as the NA.
That is a pain in the ass.
Sorry,
You would.
sorry, sorry.
Uh yeah, I think there's some work we need to do here in terms of. Ooh, it's gonna be a little rough. Uh,
When do you want to
Um,
actually? When do you want to do the wave? Like the cool stuff with the wave,
later
right
on
at
when I
the
can.
end. Right at the end. Yeah,
Yeah, later when I can breathe.
yeah,
Still trying to do that a
yeah,
little bit right now.
yeah. It's
Um,
fair.
all right, let's see here. We're gonna copy this over, and this should just line up. All right. Yep, 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 yep. And we can obviously add in our space here. And then the trick is to make this smaller. So 24. It's going to be tiny. We need to pad that some. Not a big deal. We want to go ahead and text new color equals text 500, we said. Like that.
Nah, it's too dark. You see what I'm going for, though?
Like that. Same color as like the. I think these are 300 here.
Yeah, I'm just going to de-emphasize it. And can you
Lower.
baseline align? Yeah.
Yep. We're going to do.
Is it? And that's all. That's 300, right? Range miles good to go is all 300.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh my god.
There we go.
There we go. I think that's better because it calls attention to the 428, which is the important number, and the rest are all supporting. You know.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to do here is just put the space there. So it's a bit smaller space.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. How you like
I
that?
dig it.
That looks good.
Ship it. Ship it.
Good bit.
It's done. Ship it.
Uh,
Okay. Location. Well, what are we doing when we actually tap into location here?
Nothing right now. I think that's going to wait for the fleet stuff.
Okay.
And if we end up doing like the single vehicle view for fleet,
Mhm.
I think it should tap into that.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be the same. I think
So,
because we have to have single vehicle view, which is basically just like find your car, which
mhm.
I guess it's kind of redundant because it's already there. So we'll have to figure that out. You have 0 kilometers connected miles, 0 kilometers.
Yeah, that's we're still doing some stuff on that. That's a back end thing. That's not my
Got it.
fault.
Got it. Okay. Well, I just see the kilometers. I'm like, we're using different units here.
Yeah,
But okay, sweet. Cool, cool,
awesome.
cool.
So, okay, I think we're in a good spot there. Let's go ahead and let's do a quick review of the NFT stuff, or the vehicle ID, I should say. Or do we
Vehicle
want to do
ID.
like our tooltip?
Yeah, do you have so I have tooltips in design system.
Okay.
I have those done now. If you have access to that, you should have access to that file.
Yeah, so the product design system.
Yeah.
All right.
Hop in here and follow me. Those are my cover options. Okay, so I would grab this and I would do one of these,
Mhm.
but not, oh, I shouldn't edit the master component, but I would basically do this. I would grab this guy and we'll get rid of the button. And then what should we say? Like glove box, vehicle ID, and more.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like along those lines. It's a basic tooltip. Uh, it's an off white. I'm still updating colors. We just did all of we just did all we I mean Daniel did all of this
Nice.
to get this whole palette done like today or like yesterday. So
Yeah.
I think we still need to push some of that, but um,
Okay.
yeah,
Let me. So
it's
this is
gray
like
one. It's my gray 100.
okay. I think we're gonna be okay there. I need to probably
Yeah.
update some colors in my system, but let's give this a go. Let's go
Cool.
to our. I think it's our header,
Hmm.
vehicle header. We're gonna do something. I want to make it a reusable component, but we're gonna start first with like what we've got.
Hmm.
And what I think we're gonna do there is we're gonna get fancy with this, but we're gonna start low tech basically. And we want to go ahead and put in a box, and we're gonna go ahead and do position absolute, which is gonna basically just this is gonna look at the parent above it, which is like this whole button, and it's gonna
Yeah.
like position it relative to that, and then we're gonna just basically use like a top, left, right, bottom to position it where we want.
Hmm.
So we won't do that just yet. I'm gonna get in our styles first, minus a little arrow. I'm gonna probably do that later on. Little arrow is gonna be tricky unless we want to just import it, but probably don't want to
Are
do
you?
that.
Do you think we want to call attention to this every time a vehicle is connected for the first time, or only the first vehicle?
I don't know. It's a really good question. We can kind of get into those nitty gritty details later.
I'd probably do every time, just because. I mean, think about think about actually using it. So there's somebody who comes in, adds a vehicle, gets in there, discovers this. They know it's there. They either know it's there or not. But I do feel like it's a pretty light lift if we just say, yeah, every time you add a vehicle, we call it out that stuff lives up there. Why don't we do it that way? Why don't we make it every vehicle? Every time you add a vehicle, you get this little call out. It's basically like making a new. It's basically like you're getting reintroduced to this concept.
Okay, I'm gonna have to let's put that on pause real quick.
Okay.
What I'm, I think the way we'll go about this, and I'll probably do the triangle offline because I need to figure out the best way to like do that in an optimized
Mm-hmm.
way. It's probably gonna just be like an SVG path that we build. Um, but let's first go ahead and make sure we like position the box. And then we're gonna like animate it some, and then we'll go into like basically like the nitty gritty about how it shows up and like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Grabbing your text right here. All right, yeah, that looks great.
Yeah.
Looking
Perfect. Ship
good.
ship it.
All right, let me see if I can overwrite this. So obviously it's doing that because it's trying to find and fit within the context of those things. Might need to get a little creative, but positions to hmm.
I'm gonna try something on my end. I'm gonna play with. I think I like the three dots just because it is more. I mean, that's a common convention. I'm gonna see what icons I've got in my library to make it slightly more like make it more like a tray or something. I'll just see what I have because I know we have gotten that feedback that it's missable. Like everything can't compete for
Yep.
attention, but I'm gonna see if maybe there's like a middle ground because I don't want to confuse anybody.
All right. While you're doing that, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually using a little system called a portal, which is gonna like
Mhm.
no matter where we drop this component in place, it's gonna basically move it outside and move it to like the very top of the screen. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like independent of our current layout.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna I have to do a fancy way of basically getting this like current component position and kind of feeding that in. I'll deal with that. I'll even put a little to do here. I guess we're gonna have to do it this way. To do dynamic position.
I'm gonna put some options together just with our library of stuff, and then let's we can get in while you're doing that. I'm putting these options together, and then let's review them and see if you think any of these are better than the three dots.
To be honest, I feel very hesitant about that just because of the convention built around the three
I
dots.
know, I know. I just I can't not.
Explore.
Yeah, I can't not explore. Like I've gotten the feedback a number of times. I have to take it into account, and if we don't come to a better solution, we don't come to a better solution. But I have to. I've heard it from enough people that I want to at least like not just disregard. You know,
All right, quick question about like this. Do we want to make this background somewhat opaque?
of the tooltip.
Mm-hmm.
I just have it as gray 100, and that's pretty much it. It's just a
Should there be
standard
any like?
tooltip we're using.
Okay.
What's up? I
Sometimes when we see
don't.
tooltips, there's a little bit of opacity to it.
Well, try like a 80 on it. Try yeah, like a point 0.8.
Let me see. Man, oh man, is there a?
Once we get it in there, I can play with colors too. See if we want to change the color.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. There is a hex RGB. Cool. That's what I want. We're gonna come here. We're gonna do tooltip and 0.8.
Okay, I have one,
That
two,
looks like
three,
no
four.
change. Let
Okay.
me go like 0.3, something to kind of. Okay, that does look like that actually did what we wanted to do. So maybe more like a point 2.5. All right, let's go 0.7. 0.6. That looks cool to me, but let's just leave it like that for now, and then we can like adjust.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So this is nice. We've got something in here. What I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna move this stuff out to its own component,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to go ahead and just like part of the reason why we want to make it its own component is just like so that way we don't have a whole bunch of logic conflicting for different things like in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna make our lives a little bit easier down the road. We've got our whole components folder here. I'm gonna make a new one. We're just gonna call it tooltip, and go ahead and create a new file. Start off with the import of React. Go ahead and name it tooltip tools. And go ahead and remove all the stuff that we have here. This is going to show up as red for the time being. We're going to move our to do. Tooltip. All right, the text. It needs a portal. That's good. We need to bring in our box. That's that. Line 19. We've got this guy. Cool. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and sub this out for the other thing, and it should be the exact same. So, and that's how we do it, just like that. So,
you're gonna do the arrow. You want to arrow later, right?
Arrow later. I'm going to do that offline because I think I need to do like an SVG path, and you'll just see me
Okay,
kind of struggle for like 30 minutes to do like a small triangle, and that's not
Got
good.
it. Got it. Say no more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to save face here.
Yeah. I've put some. I've got some options if you want to see a few different. If you want to come into vehicle tab in Figma, I have some options for swapping out the icon that we can maybe explore.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and I'm going to just follow you real quick. Are you here? Where are you?
I'm in vehicle tab.
Oh, moving over.
Maybe
Awesome.
try an info icon to trigger the tooltip. Yeah, I was thought of, I thought that could work, but we use an info icon in some other places throughout this. So sometimes it's pulling up like a tray, like a help tray, and this is an action that we want somebody to take to pull up our digital glove box slash vehicle ID. There's just basically it's like a little gateway into the glove box. So I don't want to make it like an info thing because it's a little less info. Are you following me right now? I can't see.
I gotta be honest. I don't know if you can see my facial reactions, but it is not, not loving it.
But I'm doing what I can here. So, okay, I mean, again, I'm just pulling these from the library. So I've got like an inbox tray, sort of a banker's box, this, a sheet, a file upload, these are more file uploady. So I don't know. I don't hate the three dots. I think if we call attention to the three dots,
I don't see a world where like we can get away with a different icon and not need the three dots. And in that
I
case,
could do that. That's more, that's like a tag for the three dots, but
I don't know if that's doing it for me. What about like
it's kind of
circle of the
like,
three dots?
what's that?
Like typically you see it in like on Reddit or like other places, you'll see like the circle, like an outline of the circle and the three dots inside of it.
Yeah, I would need to make something. What's up?
Did you guys see the message from Beam Jackson? Instead of the ellipsis, maybe try out an info icon to trigger the tooltip.
Yes, I did see that. That's what I was responding to a minute ago.
The issue with that is like, I mean, listen, everyone's got their own sort of like, I guess, decisions or reasonings, but like info in my head is like, I want help, not like I'm going here to do additional stuff. Whereas like we want, like, here's like our problem right now. We have this glove box or this additional tray of stuff that a user is going to access maybe 10% of the time. That 10% is just a guesstimation, but like at the end of the day, like it's something actionable, but something that like more than not they'll ignore. So like the context of a more like this thing right here works really well because it's exactly that same thing. Like if you're on Reddit and you see the three dots, it's like cool. There's additional functionality, but most of the time you're just not going to need that.
Yeah, we could try it with this circle because now it's at least following the button. That's a button. That's a button. That's
not a
button.
bad idea. I mean, that could work.
And I would leave the list, like the mission control button. I would leave that because that's sort of its own type of. These are like screen based. This pulls up the tray. It does lock unlock. Well, no, because the trunk frunk is a icon only button.
I think. What about like a garage? I don't know how you could do that really easily with one.
The garage icon I've got is not great.
Eek. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll come back to that one. Let's at least figure this thing out.
I would like to do what I would like to do is try it with the tooltip first to call attention to it so you know what it is, and you'll probably when you see it you'll tap it and you'll discover it. Done. And then let's put it in front of some people and see what they think. And if people are still missing it and no one's interacting with it, fine, then we'll make a change to it. I don't want to there's a lot going on this screen already. I just don't want to confuse somebody. And there's also like if people haven't gone through the customizer, we're going to have that notification up there too that's telling you to go open it. So I think there's enough stuff when it comes to actually using it that we can do to push people to do it. Or we could also put the notification counter up there right from the start when you haven't done like your any of your document uploads or anything like that. So I would bias towards doing something that calls attention to the 3 dots versus replacing the 3 dots.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, okay, let's finish up this tooltip and then I get you.
Yeah, okay.
And we can look at it with like a small like border there.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get our stuff set up for animations.
All right.
So I'm going to change this out to an animated box. For anyone who's following, these are like our own built-in things that are just like easy kind of sugar on top of the existing stuff within React Native. There's a super awesome library called React Native Reanimated, which powers a lot of our animations. And we're just going to do some quick stuff to kind of fade this thing in, and then after a couple seconds, fade it out. So let's go ahead and get into that. We're going to start off by creating what's called a shared value. This is basically something that's going to make it super easy for us to like just basically use a number that's going to control like our fade in and fade out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call it progress. And we're going to start that off at 0. We're going to go ahead and create some sort of style based off of that. So const animated style equals use animated style. It's the function. And we're going to say opacity. It's going to be progress out of value. And lastly, we're going to do a quick use effect. I'm going to explain all this stuff here in a second, but let's go ahead and say from the very beginning.
I'm still just thinking about the dots, so I'm just thinking through that still.
You're fine.
So we got related to this, I'm still on the 3 dots discussion. Mm-hmm. We got a comment, have a tour the first time the app is run, offload full explanations in the Doc Center IMO. I agree with that. I think this tooltip here that we're doing is basically going to do that. It's going to guide you through it. It's going to guide you through this process.
Yeah, I think so too. I've got this set to 5 seconds, so let's just look and see how this looks. Let me go ahead and reload this. I don't know if you can see it based off of like the video delay, but let's go ahead and get in here. And after 5 seconds, it's going to go ahead and disappear like that.
Why don't we make the disappearance happen when they tap the dots?
We could definitely do that as well.
Let's do that so that we ensure that everybody who sees that has to basically either have it still saying, hey, this is where, this is where this is, or they have to have opened up that tray to have gotten rid of it, and then we know they've discovered it.
Make it work.
Galaxy brain.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give some love to that. It's a bit of a challenge, but totally doable.
Mm-hmm.
But we can definitely do this first thing. So
Sweet.
one thing I also want to do is just we're gonna kind of delay this some. So this right here is gonna just bump this like thing from starting up until like we kind of have like some clear cycles on the device. So that's just gonna say like, hey, don't try and shove this in with everything else loading up.
Mm-hmm.
Then we want to go ahead and move it this way. So we're gonna say this is a button, and then when you press it, go ahead and move it that way. And we're gonna put in a little toggle here. So the idea is like in the beginning you can press it, then after you press it that first time, it's basically dead. We don't want it to interact with anything else. So we're gonna say like const is toggle. No, we're gonna say is active. Toggle active equals use toggle. All right, it's actually gonna be true to begin with. Now, here, what I want here. I think that's it, but why is that not coming up? Wow. Losing my mind here, Ben. All right, we're gonna get that in a second. So let's go ahead and do on the finish. We're gonna say toggle active false. Cool. Tap it and in there. Does not like that.
Ship it.
Run on JS. Toggle active false. Let's go ahead and refresh this just to make sure we're all in good standing.
Why does it do the no vehicles when you first open it? Why do we get that like flash of the empty state?
That's something like I'll need to finesse more and more. I mean, I can definitely talk about that in a second and talk about like the tricks that come with it and like the sort of things. It's a really good point, and that'll be it's something we should definitely talk about. Let me.
Yeah, I saw Shaolin do like a screen recording, and I saw that pop in there, and that was the first time I actually noticed it.
Yeah. And then that thing is acting a little weird when we tap it. But let's go ahead and refresh because I think that's going to fix that a little bit.
God, how many times do you do this a day?
I don't like to talk about it. It's
yeah.
It's a lot. It is definitely a lot. Definitely a lot. Let me see what's going on with this guy. Box. All right. I don't know why this guy is just giving me a hard time. I'm gonna ignore this thing now. Okay, we're gonna get more into that. I think we've got some cool stuff though. A good starting spot. Okay, let's talk about like what's going on there, and then we'll kind of do some other stuff. So you want to know about why it's doing that, and like what are the challenges with that like loading thing. So
Hmm.
let's kind of like dissect this code some. There's definitely a lot that goes on here, but essentially like the way that we have this stood up is we've got a couple of different like screen options based off of like your vehicle and all that sort of jazz.
Hmm.
Um, like for Teslas, and we did it for two reasons. One, because right now there's already a little bit of a difference between like a Tesla and a smart car and a smart car without controls and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But in the future, we know that like it's going to be even more robust, and it's going to be a little bit more like Tesla's going to really kind of be like on an island on its own because they have such a rich API for us to work with. Whereas
Hmm.
like more and more stuff via smart car or even AutoPie is going to come online later. And what's going on in the very beginning of like this thing loading is it's basically going through our all of our options to see like what the configuration should be shown here.
Hmm.
Now that in itself isn't such a big deal, but that's like pre-pinned it with this whole network call to say like what do we have. So in the very beginning when we load up, we grab all the information about like the vehicles that
Hmm.
we have in our account. And the first thing that it says is like, "Hey, you don't have a vehicle because that call isn't done yet."
Got it.
So we can basically optimize that, but there's like a sort of a golden rule there is that like the more sort of like little like edge cases that you basically bake into the logic, the more likely you are to have like a situation where like it goes off the rails and it just creates more of an issue. There's like all these
Hmm.
unintended consequences essentially.
Hmm.
So while we're just now getting this started, we're not over optimizing for that case. We do have some stuff like we basically have a flag that says like, "Hey, are we ready to load?" And we're
Hmm.
just gonna like add more and more logic to make that like work as expected. So, but yeah, so for right now, if we really try and see it quickly, let's go ahead and see what happens when we log in. So, boom, it's like, hey, there's no vehicles added.
Right.
And then it's saying like, okay, well, we do have vehicles. Let's go ahead and load that first one in. And then it's just dissecting if that's a Tesla or not a Tesla, if it's got controls, all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
So we're getting better. The weird thing is, like, you could think about this and say, like, well, why don't we just wait and see if we have vehicles before we show anything? The issue there is just like, well, we don't know if there's gonna be a situation where like it fails to load any vehicles or it's just like really slow to load any vehicles or all that sort of stuff. Like, we can definitely know that if we spend time to like look at that, but it's
Hmm.
just like it's gonna open up so many more things. Like, do we need a loading state? Like, if
Right.
it's super quick, do we want a loading state? Because it's just more shit that's gonna flash on the screen. All that kind of stuff goes into it. So
Hmm.
it's like, hey, when we're in the right place, and we might do that during one of our watch us works, where we actually just say, okay, let's go ahead and optimize this.
Hmm. Okay.
But now it's basically easy to debug, and that's where we want to keep it.
Makes sense to me. I was just
But
asking because I noticed it the other day, and I was like, why are we getting this like flash of this thing? But okay, no, it makes sense.
yeah, right now we're in a situation where like this switching from one vehicle to the other is pretty smooth. It could definitely be
Yeah.
better. There's a cool little library in the React world called like why did you render?
Hmm.
And you could put it like in front of any component and I'll just say like, hey, I rendered because of this, right? Basically re-rendered because of this. And it's an easy way to say like, oh man, like my code needs to be more optimized because like all these things are triggering re-renders and every time we re-render it's like it takes performance. And so
Hmm.
like one thing we'll see is like as we get more and more like optimized and performant, we're gonna have less of those little flashes and stuff like that. Just a better experience.
Gotcha.
You don't want to over optimize before you're done. It's gonna be like
I
a
hear you.
big pain in the ass to backtrack that.
I hear you. This is just going to be one of those things that I keep bugging you about.
No, I know. It's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
By that I mean not the fun part.
Okay. How do you want to handle? Actually, is there anything else you want to do on this, or do you want to change gears a bit? Because I need to talk about um, that smart car reauth stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like the we can go into smart car auth and I'll just put in some to-dos for our tooltip. Like right here,
Hmm.
we have a situation where um Well, let's put in some to-dos and let's just talk about like the challenges that we have left with that. Like, so for one, we have this like active toggle thing, which we kind of want to expand on that and say like, hey, don't show if we don't need to. Like once you click it, it's gonna go deactivate it. But then we should have some sort of like logic in there to say like this thing doesn't need to be active to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put our whole list of to-dos. So create persistent logic to ensure tooltips only load on new device. So we can also set this up so it's going to check like your like local storage on the device, and so like if you just like uninstall it and reinstall it, you're going to see it, but that's fine. Make sure there's no flash when pressing tooltip. And lastly, if we open the tray, remove tooltip. But those are like the three things that we need to do to like make this a really good experience.
Yep.
Oh, and lastly, add triangle. Yeah. So we need three things.
Okay.
One is like, or four things. We need the triangle just to do the little pointer.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make it more dynamic. Add dynamic positioning. Go into this one. So we want to be able to say like, hey, X, Y, show up there, so we know like where to position this thing. Second thing we need to do is make sure this only loads up when we want it to. So save it if we've already seen it. Other thing is just like if you click the three dots to open it up, we'll also remove it there because there's a different button technically. So we just need to sync those logics.
Yep.
And right now it looks like there's a tiny little flash when we hit it. Yeah, there's something weird going on there. Tiny little flash. And we want that to be gone.
Yep. I think if we just, essentially what it's going to amount to is just one big tap target for the tray on first launch. The button, the tooltip or the icon are both just going to serve to open up that tray. So it's just a really big, it's just going to be a really big tap target that's like covering up. I want to do it so if you tap the tooltip, it opens the tray. And if you tap the icon, it opens the tray.
Oh, really?
And yeah, just make it a big target. So you hit it, the thing opens up, it's there. You want to get this tooltip off your screen. So you do it, it's there. You go, okay, there's all this stuff here. You probably have some notifications in there anyway on first launch because you haven't gone through the mint flow. We could do stuff like putting a notification counter for the glove box. Like you're really not going to miss it at this point. Mm-hmm. You're going to know it's there.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Let me think about that some. Because, yeah, we need to do some work. We can take it offline, but there's some cool stuff that's happening there that we can get it to sync together.
Sure.
All right. For now, I am just going to remove this by returning null. Get out of here. Okay. What did you want to go over? The smart card stuff?
Yeah, we've got to do this reauth stuff with to get people to enable commands. And I'm wondering like what the best way it is. Oh, okay, we're getting messages. I'm wondering what the best way is to actually do that. Like I could just stop everything because technically nothing happens if you don't reauth with smart car. You just don't get the commands.
Yeah.
So we would just hide those, but so there's nothing that's like stopping you from using the rest of the product if you don't do that. But I also do want to get people onto the latest, as quickly as possible. So
yeah. So right now, let's pretend like we don't have it. I'm going to go ahead and It's under this vehicle. Home. Let's close everything. And right now, we basically look and see if you have got commands.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna go ahead and just like hijack this to
Well, because
say,
something I could do is just throw a system banner in there that just says your connection's out of date. Log back in to read, basically to upgrade it. That's really the thing I was thinking of doing. I don't want to disconnect people because they're gonna freak out. Um, but throwing up some sort of like uh, that your connection is out of date sort of thing, or something like that is probably going to be what we have to do.
we've got like a bunch of like sticky situations, right? Like let's say like we put a little banner in here that's like, hey, go to vehicle preferences to enable commands. But then
Hmm.
like what happens when you get to like vehicle the preferences and it's like, hey, you're actually not eligible for commands because of your manufacturer.
Hmm. Do we have a
Right.
like? I mean, we've got a list of who's eligible.
It's kind of crazy. I think we got like a weird little thing going on here. Hmm.
You hear me? Or
Yeah,
do
I
you
can
have
hear
a?
you.
Okay, okay.
What you say?
Um, my thought was we could do. You know how we put together that widget that was the like, are you still like, have you been driving widget?
Mm-hmm.
We could do something like that, which is like, would you like to enable vehicle commands? Yes, no, and just stick that right up at the top. So then people can go, yes, I would. And then we say, great, open the thing up, log back in. Now you have commands. If they say no, great, we'll dismiss it. Is the issue that you have um, that we don't know, like, or we should know who's eligible and who's not, right?
What if we do like what if we make it bring it down here?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You want to make like add like a little widget here to this like section
Yeah,
right there. Okay.
I'm saying this. Let me see if we've pushed that widget X large. Nice. Nice. Okay, we did. Here, yeah, come in here and back to vehicle tab.
All right. Oh, vehicle tab.
Yeah. So we put together this guy here as a like basically a way for us to say, if we haven't gotten data from somebody, like, hey, have you been driving? We need to know if you've been driving or not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was thinking we could do just something like, you know, we'll do your connection is out of date. Would you like to upgrade it to enable, geez, we could say, would you like to upgrade it uh, for better data and to enable vehicle commands, and then say yes or no, right? And then just drop it in there,
All
you know?
right.
Something like that where now we're not like yelling at somebody, but as soon as they get into, I'll workshop the text, but basically we're not yelling at anybody, but when they get into this screen, they can see you can't miss it again. And it's like, hey, you need to, do you want this here? If you want vehicle commands, hit yes. And we'll just pull the thing right up and like pull smart car right up and have them log in right there.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think that
Awesome.
is something we could do pretty easily.
Cool.
Let me see. So we're here, vehicle stats. All right, let's go ahead and fill this out real quick, and then we'll move it to its own little component. So let me do it right here.
I'll workshop the text. Put a note to prompt 2. Okay, no, that's the. All right. Leave a note to come back to this text once I have some time to think on it.
Okay. Sounds good.
I could make it like really obvious with this big. I don't know if you can. Are you? Where are you right now?
I'm working on. Ugh, no, I hate that.
Yeah, I do too. I'm just saying I could really yell at you about it,
You're
but
killing
I
me.
think let it blend in. Not blend in, but I think they're two gigantic buttons on this screen. Like you're not gonna miss it.
Yeah, I'll get
If
that.
anything, I can play it. I can do it with like a different accent color, but I think we're good for now.
Okay. Go ahead and do line items equals center. We're gonna center that stuff right there. We're gonna bring in. I don't know why it's messing up, but I need my material icons.
I'm not mad at the ellipsis, says someone in chat. Love it. Thank you.
That's awesome. Double appreciation. What's the icon name for that alert? It's like something
Error
outlined?
outlined, I think.
That's what it is. And then what color do you have that as?
I have your connection is out of date is oh, this is goofy. I have it as white but 60% pass through. So I'm gonna
Go
that's the
text
way that
300.
that's the way we built the widget. I'm gonna make it text do gray 300.
That
And
works.
that is a note for me to update that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Text variant equals. What size is that text?
It is monoparagraph X small, which is 12.
I think
Yeah.
that for me is 5. Yep. P5. Is that light or regular? Light. Or regular. Regular color equals text 300. Do a little bit of margin. And we're going to go and say your connection is out of date. We got 5 minutes. Can we get it done, Ben? What do you think?
I think we can get it done. I just pushed an update to design system with that change. I don't know why I had it that way. I'm pretty sure I built that component too. Whoops.
That's light. Sounds like something you skip out on, Ben.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Corners.
No, that's extra work to not just be like, I'll make it 300. I'll be like, I'm gonna mess with the opacity for some reason. Like what? You know what I may have been doing is I may have started playing with this widget like pre our latest round of color styles or something, and I may have literally just when you want to play with opacity on Figma, if you select a layer and you just hit 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 on your keyboard, it just knocks the opacity down. Like, 8 is 80%, 7 is 70. So if you want to just really quickly fly through something, you can just be like, what about that? What about that? What about that?
Yeah.
And when it's white on black, you're like, these are my different grays that we hadn't we hadn't built yet. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
All right. We have a different background.
No, here, why don't we do this? Your connection is out of date. Log in with. I don't want to make it like, would you want to upgrade? I think I want to frame it as like, your connection's out of date. Do you want to either fix it or ignore it? Not, do you want vehicle commands? Yes, no. Because really, what I want to do is get you on the latest connection.
Do you want to say like dismiss or something like that?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is your connection is out of date, and we'll make the text be like log in to upgrade.
What about start upgrade process?
No, I don't want to make it. I want to avoid anything that could make somebody be like, upgrade. I don't want to pay for anything. Is this going to cost like whatever? I just want to be like, your connection is out of date. Log back into. Well, it'll be something like log back in to upgrade to the latest lorem ipsum. I'll think of something else.
I'm gonna do this as dismiss. I feel pretty good about dismiss.
Yeah, but I also want to make it tertiary button where it's which is just text only, and
okay,
like that. So it's gray 300 text only. So it's really like you want to hit, up and make that update connection. And maybe instead of dismiss, it's don't update. Instead of dismiss, make it be like no, I don't. Yeah, you have to frame this stuff because again, it's all like there's nothing we're doing that isn't just like, hey, we want to get you on the latest thing. So I want to make it so if somebody ignores it, it's like they actively don't want to have the most up-to-date connection.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't.
There.
Maybe we don't. Why would we put it? Maybe we don't even need ignore. Maybe it's just update connection. Maybe it's just there until they update.
Oh, I hate that. No, I hate that.
Yeah. You want to let people, but then we have to have a path for them to update it.
Oh, they can't. They can just go
else.
to vehicle preferences. So here in the vehicle preferences, this is like this, and that'll take them to the update thing.
Okay, here so if they turn it on, if they try to turn it on, then it'll take them to update.
It does like this little thing, and that'll do the.
Did I make that tray?
You did make that tray. I asked you to make the tray, and then you made the tray. Yeah,
it's been a long week. It's been a long week.
All right, how are we feeling about this? I played around with your spacing a little bit.
Sure.
But
that's my spacing.
Like that?
My spacing's immaculate. What do you mean? I have it as.
It always looks different on the device.
Everything is. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. It's fine. The spacing looks fine. There's maybe. What's your gap between?
Like here, between this is the. Yeah, that's all. Between here and here, it's like only 8.
Okay, I have it as I have your connection is out of date and the paragraph text spacing is 8, but then the spacing between that and the buttons and the top of the button is 16.
So I did more than that. This is 16. That's like.
Yeah, it's kind of on top of itself.
Yeah.
That's fine.
32. Yeah.
That's fine. That looks good to me. It's 31 right now. Do we have to jump to another?
We do got to jump. Let's just spend 2 minutes and kind of talk about what we need to do now.
Okay.
So I got to put in a little to do because, well, let's see. Let me float this up to the top so we can.
Yeah, that should be the top item. That shouldn't be the.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be below range and all that.
Like that.
Yeah, it looks weird because you want to get rid of it. You're like, yes, I would like this to go away because I can't see my range easily anymore.
Yeah, so if we collapse this, there's where you are.
Yeah, yes. You cannot miss that your connection's out of date there.
Yeah, it's pretty bold. I like that.
And then if you have commands enabled, well, I guess you wouldn't have commands enabled because that's the point of this. Never mind. Never mind.
Yep. No, I need to move this to its own logic. I'm going to do that real quick and we're going to wrap up. Okay. So I'm going to say here, new file, upgrade connection, TSX, import, React from React.
I will think on what that paragraph text needs to be. Because it shouldn't be upgrade. It should be phrased in such a way that's like, again, it's not affecting anybody's rewards or anything, but it should be phrased in such a way that makes people go like, oh, I should go do this. I should log in. But if I say log in, people are going to be like, I am logged into the app. So I need to workshop that a bit, but the component is good.
Yeah, we need to I need to do the whole bunch of logic. So obviously, if you're a Tesla or anything like that, it should only be for people who have the ability to have commands who don't currently have it capable. So, okay, I think that's a good spot to wrap up. I know you're watching comments. Is there any last questions people have for us?
Uh,
Any
I,
wishes?
any wishes? I don't. Let me check all of the places that there could be. Nope, I don't see much there. I think we're good.
Awesome. Okay, well, this is fun. I hope people like this. I hope we all right, that's definitely a good.
Shaolin gave me media controls, so I can do whatever I want.
Shall I think you need to take away those controls. I think it's in everyone's interest.
All right, we gotta go to another meeting. All right,
Goodbye, everyone.
everybody who's hung out with us, thank you for the comments. Thank you for hanging out with us. And we'll be back. Oh my God, Infinity Mirror.
Yep.
We'll be back next week. Cool.
Yep. Later,
Aaron, I'll see
guys.
you in another meeting.